All right, I feel like my hair looks crazy today. We're going to ignore that because I may or may not be growing it out. We'll see if I have a shaved head in 2 weeks. All right, folks, I finally did it. I went to the American Girl store in person as a fully grown adult man with no children, and I am here to tell you about it. I think the main thing most of you want to know is, was it awkward? And I'm going to tell you all about my experience, and then at the end of the video, we are going to unbox the doll that I bought, plus a few store exclusives that I picked up. So here we go, story time. So I have been teasing a trip to the American Girl store for quite some time now. Since we moved to North Carolina, I'm actually pretty close to one. And so I've really been looking forward to going, and many of you know the reason I couldn't go for the first like 10 months that we were here. If you don't, go back and read the community tab. I still can't talk about it. But recently we were able to hop in our car and go on a road trip. That's me and my partner, by the way, or my partner and I. Does anybody care about proper grammar anymore? But yeah, we were on a road trip to visit my parents, and that felt like the perfect opportunity to finally swing into the store and see what it's all about. These things didn't exist when I was a kid because I am a little bit on the older side of millennials. So I didn't really know a whole lot about these stores because by the time I had outgrown dolls, there still wasn't an American Girl store. They opened in I think the first one opened in 1998 in Chicago, their flagship store. Now I have walked past these stores before, on trips to big cities and stuff, but never went in, even though I secretly really wanted to. I mean, we're talking even 10 years ago, before I was even into collecting these things now. Just, you would walk past that big red storefront and be like, oh yeah, I remember those from when I was a kid. I wanted one so bad. But you're still I think many people are still so embarrassed to go into the store, especially if you don't have children or anything and you're just there with your friends and you're in your 20s. You're like, yeah, I'm not going to tell everybody I want to go into the American Girl store. So I have had a few instances of, walking past them and kind of doing this as an adult, but I've never been in one. So I really, really, really wanted to go ever since getting into collecting them as an adult. But I lived in Portland for 15 years, and there really wasn't one close by. So finally getting an opportunity was so exciting to finally go and see what the store displays look like in person, because everybody that's been always talks about the store displays, everything is merchandised so beautifully. And obviously I can attest to that now. And I just really wanted that experience of being able to go buy a doll in person, to sit there and actually go through the shelves and look at every single one in the face and pick the perfect one. Because when you buy them from americangirl.com or Amazon, you just get whatever they pick out for you, and sometimes you don't get the best doll. So yeah, we went to the American Girl store in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is in the South Park Mall, and that is a super nice mall. I've been to it a bunch of times. I actually don't know if I've even been there since the American Girl store was built, but South Park is a super nice mall. It's got lots of luxury fashion houses in there. I think there's a Gucci and a Louis Vuitton, and yeah, just lots of really, really high-end stuff. So it gives me hope that we might actually keep the Charlotte store, because American Girl has been closing so many of their retail stores, with the exception of opening that Dallas store. Rumor has it that they're closing everything, but basically their flagship in Chicago, New York and LA, and Dallas. So all of us that live near the Charlotte store are crossing our fingers that we get to keep that store, because it is in a really nice mall that appears to still have a lot of shopping activity. So fingers crossed we keep it. So anyway, we decided to go super early in the morning, and that was for several reasons. The main one being I really wanted to go when there wasn't a lot of people there. Now, I love people, but I also don't like people, especially strangers. So one of the big reasons behind that, obviously, is I wanted to film and get some footage in the store. So I didn't want to have to be constantly ducking and dodging, trying to avoid filming people, because I feel it's really hard to avoid doing it. But just personally, I obviously don't want to accidentally film anybody's child or anything. So I really wanted to go as early as possible so that we could actually get some footage to put on the channel to show you, which you're probably seeing some of it right now. So yeah, we wanted to go super early, basically right after they opened. And I have to say it was pretty empty when we went. Now, I will say I was quite nervous regardless. Now, you know, obviously I have a YouTube channel where I boast about my love of dolls and like all things that were marketed towards girls in the 80s and 90s, but there's still like, you know, there's your like internet bubble, and then there's the real world, and things are kind of crazy right now. And, you know, I just feel like, you know, without getting into the politics of the world, you know, I just feel like there's always somebody crazy like showing their ass in public. So you just never know what you're going to experience in a situation like this. So I don't know. I just feel like I'm so traumatized about going in public these days. So I admittedly was like kind of nervous because, like I said, I don't have children. I was not there with children. I did have my partner with me at first because we were on the trip together. So he walked into the store with me. So I wasn't like completely alone, but, yeah, so like I said, I just was a little bit nervous. You never know how you're going to be received in a situation like that, because American Girl is a children's brand. It's not marketed towards adults for the most part. You know, I know they do some collector things, and they, you know, we get little like winks and nods here and there on Instagram that they know adult collectors exist, but for the vast majority of their customer base, it's children. So you are not going to see at any given time, I don't think anyway, lots of adults in there shopping for themselves. So that kind of had me a little bit nervous off the bat, like I said. So anyway, we walked through the mall and we walked through the front door, and like about 3 paces in, we get welcomed by a lovely woman named Jennifer who works there. And she says, "Oh, I recognize you. You have a YouTube channel." So I was immediately comfortable. So that, I think, was one of my biggest concerns. Like I said, going there and feeling like, you know, I'm this adult man in there with no children, with probably a video camera. Obviously, I didn't walk in with the camera, so there's no footage of me like outside of the store, like walking in, because I feel like it's really rude to film people against, you know, their consent. So, you know, as I walked in, I got recognized immediately, which was honestly kind of humbling. But shout out Jennifer if you're watching this. But I was immediately comfortable as soon as I felt like somebody there knew who I was and what I was doing. So all of my worries basically just kind of washed away. Immediately comfortable. Had a very quick chat with Jennifer, and from there, like, I requested, obviously, if I could film in the store because I wanted to get some footage for the channel, and they said that was totally fine. But I will say, like, it is important, and I'm glad I did this regardless of whether or not I was recognized. I do think that if you are an adult, specifically if you are an adult and you are male presenting, I think it's really important to, if you're in a situation like that in the American Girl store and you want to film, I do think it's really important that you go up and at least like ask one of the employees if it's okay if you film in there, and just kind of let them know, like basically state your business, because, you know, there are a lot of creeps in the world, and you really don't want somebody to think that you are in there for a really sinister reason. That was, like I said, one of my big fears about going in there, is I didn't want people to think I had really bad intentions being in there. Because you got to remember, this world is a really messed up, scary place, and people have to be really protective of their children. So you just don't want to be in a situation where you make someone uncomfortable, like where they might think, they're like, why is this like 30, 40, 20 something year old filming in this store? Because, you know, it's just like, it can be a dangerous situation for a child potentially. So it is really important to ask permission and let like the staff know that you're there filming. In my opinion, that's what I did. And obviously let them know that I wasn't going to be filming any people but myself. So like, you know, I didn't want to film any of the employees. I certainly didn't want to film any customers or children in there. Again, like I said, that's one of the reasons we went super early, is so that we could get some footage of the store without having to worry about filming people. Now, I was there for about an hour. So as we were there, more people started coming in. So it did get a little bit trickier to film because, like I said, I did not even want to have like a person like in the line of sight of my camera. So if I was filming something like in front of me, I wanted to be absolutely sure that there wasn't a person like, you know, looking at something like off in the distance behind me. Again, it's just like, I feel like trying to be courteous and be sure that people don't mistake that I'm trying to film them or their child or whatever. So anyway, that was like a big concern of mine going in there. So yeah, again, I know a lot of you watch these videos and you like to go in and film your experience in the stores. So I just would say keep that in mind, especially, like I said, if you are an adult man. Just make sure the staff knows knows what you're doing, and be really, really careful not to film people or even look like you're trying to film people. So yeah, that was kind of like my first order of business getting there, is like I wanted to be sure it was okay for me to film and just kind of like get a lay of the land. So like the first thing I did was like I just basically did one big lap. I wanted to take everything in and just kind of have the experience without basically immediately turning it into a job to do. So I did do a full lap with my partner, and he was asking a bunch of questions. I mean, even though I talk his ear off about American Girl all the time, like this was kind of a new experience for him as well. And because he's Australian, he has no like preconceived like notion of what all of this stuff is. So he was like kind of like looking around. I think at first he actually was legitimately interested. So we were kind of walking around talking about some things. And then I think after about 20 minutes or so, I think he had kind of had enough and went and sat down basically in the like dad lounge outside the store. There's like a big lounge area with sofas and stuff. So which I assume that is where like the parents who are not interested go out and sit while, you know, the kid is in there shopping. So anyway, he went and did that. And that's when like I feel like it really became a true shopping experience for me. So I really love seeing everything in person. There are a lot of dolls that I haven't seen yet, because even though I have a gigantic collection, I still don't collect a ton of the contemporary stuff. The vast majority of my collection is vintage Pleasant Company. So there are things like the McKenna sculpt that I haven't seen in person. I got to see a lot of the like Sonali sculpt in person, which I thought I wasn't going to like based on the pictures I've seen and what other people have been saying. But I have to say, like, I forget her number. It's the Truly Me doll with the Sonali sculpt, and she has like the really textured hair. I cannot remember her number. I'll put it on the screen, but she is so beautiful. I was actually almost bought her because I really love her hair. I just didn't think I was going to love her face as much. But seeing her in person, I actually really want that doll now. And that's another important point I guess I should make, is that I went in there with a shopping plan, and I'm really glad I did, because you get in a store like that and there are so many things that you will like, you just fall in love with everything in the store. You want everything from the second you step foot in there. So I had to be really careful that I didn't like leave spending $4,000 like with just carts full of like Julie's bathroom and 30 Truly Me dolls and all of the play sets. So I went in with a shopping list, and you're going to see it at the end because you'll see what I actually bought. But I stuck to it, and I'm really proud of myself for doing that, because there were a few places where I was like, I think I want this doll, and I didn't do it. But like I said, I spent probably somewhere around $200 there, and I could have easily spent $1,000 if I didn't go in there with a plan. So I think that's a really important thing if you're going to the American Girl store and you have a doll budget, is make a plan and try and stick to it, you know, and maybe have a little bit of flex in your budget in case you just really fall in love with something. But yeah, the temptation to buy something that was not on my wish list was quite high, like with every single step I took through that store. So it was really, really great to see everything in person. Like I said, there are some dolls that I never really planned to get that I really could appreciate their true beauty in person. So yeah, I really love having that store there. Like I said, I hope it sticks around, because it's going to be really great to pick, like just to have that there so that we can go, and if they do like a launch for the Girl of the Year this year, I would love to be able to go do that. So it really is a beautiful store. It's merchandised beautifully. It's not just some like throwaway like pop-up shop or anything. They really do a great job with the merchandising, and they set up different scenes and vignettes in their cases. And there, I believe, are a few opportunities to actually touch the dolls as well. So if you're a kid in there and you maybe aren't going to get a doll that day, you might be there just, you know, looking and maybe picking out something for your Christmas or birthday wish list. There are options, like opportunities to go in there and actually pick up like the Girl of the Year and see what she feels like in person to play with. So it's a really great interactive experience. I think it's, yeah, I really enjoyed seeing all of that stuff. And I just remember, it is funny, you can kind of see like some like places where a child has obviously got to it and it looks a little bit strange. Like, I think there was like a gymnast that was like basically doing like a kip handstand in the corner. Like, it just looks like something that maybe Marta or Bella Caroli forced her to do. But anyway, I won't do like 1,000 gymnastics references today. But yeah, all in all, the store is really, really beautiful. I had an amazing time there. And like I said, I felt extremely comfortable. The staff there was so polite. And I spoke to Jennifer, the woman who greeted me, like when I first walked in, and I just kind of asked her, I was basically if they get adult collectors in there regularly, and she said yes. Like, it's obviously I was not the first adult American Girl collector to set foot in that store, and she herself told me that she has her own American Girl doll collection, and that's one of the things I really, really love about American Girl. And you know, this dates back to the Pleasant Company days, as that the people that work for this brand really love the brand. I think so many people work at American Girl that either grew up with the brand or just really, really love the brand, and they want to support it. They want to be a part of the team that makes it happen. And you really get that sense there, especially as I was talking to her about her collection and stuff. So yeah, I just think that's one of the really great things about American Girl culture, is like we all really fall in love with these dolls, and you just really get the sense that the people that work there love the brand. And that's another thing that makes you more comfortable as an adult shopping there for yourself, as you feel like that the team members there really understand you. They're not looking at you like, who is this weirdo in here that plays with dolls or whatever. Like, they get it. And so, like I said, I was made to feel comfortable immediately walking in there. I didn't feel like a weirdo. I was comfortable the entire time, which was why I was able to stay in there for over an hour shopping and looking around and picking things up. I really, really, really had a great experience, and I really want to go back. So like I said, I went in there with a shopping plan. So I had on my list that I wanted to get a doll that had some sort of significance. So it's really hard because my childhood era is like Pleasant Company, and I have all of the childhood era stuff that I want as of now, or at least the stuff that American Girl sells. So I'm not going to go in and buy a new Molly because I have like 15 Molly dolls already. So I was trying to figure out something that would have a lot of significance to like be my first doll that I bought as like, for my first trip to the American Girl store. So after some thinking, I thought maybe I should get a boy doll, but that didn't feel right because the one that I don't have, I actually already had and sold, and I will get eventually again. But I was like, that didn't make sense. So what I ended up deciding on was that I was going to get American Girl of the Year 2024, Lila Minetti. I thought that would be really symbolic because she's Girl of the Year 2024. So if I ever forget what year it was that I went to the American Girl store for the first time, I'll know which doll I bought, and it was the Girl of the Year for that year. I mean, I guess, going to have a video stating what year it was when I bought her, but you get the gist. I just felt like it felt kind of symbolic to get the Girl of the Year, so that's what I did. And believe me, I went in there and I pulled every single doll off the shelf, and I looked at their face. I was checking for like even face printing, even eyes, making sure the outfit didn't have any snags or anything on it. I really looked at every single doll on the shelf and picked out the right one. And interestingly enough, the very first one I went up and grabbed ended up being the one that I ended up purchasing. So I feel like it was meant to be. I also had a few more things on my shopping list. Again, they were basically things that you could only get in store at this point. So one thing was I wanted to get the notebooks that they released. I think at least a year ago. They'd been out for a while, but I didn't realize that they were limited edition. So they started to sell out, and most of the notebooks are sold out on their website, but fortunately they still have them in the stores, or at least at the American Girl store in Charlotte. So I went ahead and picked up Kirsten's notebook. I got Samantha's notebook, and I got Molly's notebook, and I think that might be all I am going to do for now, although I am tempted to get Addie's and Felicity's notebooks as well. I just think they look really good with the vintage collection that I display. Now, I am a little bit perturbed that they did not do the pattern for Josefina in these notebooks and the coffee tumblers and stuff. So I feel like my collection is going to be unbalanced. So maybe I'll just do like the original 3 for these like fan merch things that they make. Because I feel like it's going to annoy me to have all of this stuff for everybody but Josefina. I don't know why they left her out of that and did Kit instead. That is terrible. But yeah, I ended up only getting the notebooks. These things are expensive. They were like $22 for the notebook. And I also want the coffee tumblers as well. I kind of had a look at them. But I decided, again, I'm not going to try and spend $1 trillion there. So maybe on the next trip, if they're still there, I'll get the coffee tumblers, but I really wanted the notebooks because I feel like they'll look good on my display, so I stuck to just that. And then the other thing I ended up picking up was these store exclusive chocolate bars that are meant to look like the dolls in their boxes, which I thought was like such a cool thing. They don't sell these on the website, I guess mainly because they just don't want to sell food online, if I had to guess. But I've really been wanting these for a long time because, again, they have that look of the original Pleasant Company like vibe. You know, they've got the burgundy. These are basically meant to look like doll boxes, so they've got that burgundy color on there that I think just looks good on the display. I think it's really fun to have these things kind of, you know, dispersed throughout your display. So yeah, I probably will get some more next time and maybe do a taste test to see if they're any good. But for now, these are the only ones I got, so I don't want to open them. But maybe at some point I will take them out and actually eat them and then figure out a way to preserve the wrappers or something maybe. I don't know. But for now, I'm keeping them like this. I already have Samantha's edible gingerbread house from like 1986. So that's lasted almost 40 years. So I feel like if these can last 40 years, I'll probably be dead by then. So anyway, I ended up picking these up too. Like I said, this was one of my missions in going there, was picking up these store exclusive chocolates. I really, really wanted them. So here's my Lila Minetti doll that I ended up picking up. She was, like I said, the very first one that caught my eye, and I grabbed her, had a look at her, said, she looks great, but is there a better one? And proceeded to compare her to every single other Lila Minetti doll that they had in the store. And they had a few. I mean, this doll has very clearly been selling well. I think this is probably their best selling girl of the year in a while. I mean, she sold out for the holiday season of last year because they've been releasing them early. Obviously, like they released Girl of the Year 2024 in September of 2023. So she's been on sale for coming up on almost a year, and she's been doing really well. So that's great. We love to hear about good sales at American Girl. We want to keep these stores open. We want American Girl to thrive. So anyway, yeah, this is the one I ended up going with. And I guess I'm going to take a break and we'll open her up. Okay, this might be a little bit awkward because, as some of you may know by now, I am completely like rearranging all of my toys and dolls and stuff. So I accidentally made it so that I can't fit a table in here anymore. So I've got to figure that out. So for now, Lila's getting opened on my lap. So anyway, we had a quick look at her before in the box, and like I said, I'm going to do my best to have this look as normal as possible unboxing her. I've obviously had a little bit of a spoiler because I picked her out in person. So this isn't like my first time seeing her like many of my unboxings. Like I'll get stuff in the mail that I haven't seen before, and I kind of like to see it for the first time on camera, but I've had a chance to kind of look at her and see what's up. So we have Lila Girl of the Year 2024, My Journal by Lila Minetti. As we know, all of the dolls come with journals now pretty much. I think they're going to be doing that with all of the historical dolls as well. So expect to see journals with your dolls and no more like chapter form books. So I have to be perfectly honest, I'm probably not going to read this. I have decided that I'm going to collect Girl of the Year, at least from the year that I started collecting. So starting with Kira Bailey and, you know, moving on into the future. So as of right now, I have Corinne, Covey, and Lila. So I just think that's going to be a really cool thing to do as my collecting goes on, is just gradually build out this collection over the years. And like I said, it's not my favorite line that American Girl makes, but I still think it's really fun, right? I love getting excited about the Girl of the Year. And so I think it's just a really great way to kind of have little time markers in my collecting journey. So with that said, I'm probably not going to read her journal, although there's a pleasant surprise in here. I actually never ended up doing a like reaction video to Lila Minetti and her collection because I was literally on a road trip when she was released. So I just didn't have the opportunity to do that for Lila. And by the time I got here and got settled, it was old news. So, but yeah, here we are all this time later. I'm actually finally getting the doll. But I either didn't know or forgot that she actually comes with bracelets. So you do get some sort of accessory with her. Now, I stupidly did not buy her meat accessories. Jennifer even offered for me to buy them. She's like, oh, if you get her meat accessories, it's $5 off. And I was like, I came here with a plan. I am not deviating from that plan. So I should have taken her advice and gotten them. I wish I had gotten her meat accessories because I will get them eventually. But honestly, with all the sales and stuff they've been having with like the older Girl of the Year stuff, I might wait a year or two, and those meat accessories might be half price. So for now, the only accessories I have with her are these little bracelets. This one I love. It's like it looks like it has like little rhinestones or something on it. This has very much like a 90s toy look. I think there's an accessory set for her where you can put like hair gems in her hair, which would be really awesome. I would love to have that if I can get my hands on it one day. And we also have this little seed bead bracelet that's sort of like a periwinkle color, and I think I will be putting these on her. I think these are really cute. So we'll do one quick look at her in the box. I really love the way American Girl packages these things. They are so, I say these things, I sound like such a non-doll collector. I sound like some random person on Facebook Marketplace that's like, I'm gonna sell it for $40. So anyway, this is what she looks like in the box. And like I was saying before, I love the way they package the dolls because they really are easy to get out for the most part, and you can kind of stick them back in and display them if you want to take them out and enjoy them for a while. But if you really wanted to either store them or kind of display them in the box, you can kind of get them back in there without too much fuss. So I really do love that. But as usual, I always try and get these things out of here without like cutting the actual ties that hold them in here, and these are pretty loose, so I might actually have some good luck with it this time. I am so that person that buys an Apple device and then keeps the packaging for 20 years. Like, I literally got the first iPhone when it came out, and I still have the box for it. I don't know if it's the graphic designer in me or like the obsessive compulsion in me, but for whatever reason, I really love packaging and I don't like throwing it away. Okay, those were nice and loose, so that was super easy. And Lila, like some dolls, I don't know if they're doing this for all of their dolls, but I've noticed some dolls have their wrists strapped in and some of them have their waist strapped in. So Lila has her waist strapped in, which I love. That's a lot easier to deal with. So hopefully they keep doing that moving forward. This will be super easy to take out. So just give me 1 second. Or 30. All right, so now for my favorite part, which is taking the neck strap off. I love that sound. All right, her hairnet actually didn't get caught on the neck brace, so that's really awesome. I think that might be a first for me. All right, this is the first time seeing her actually out of the box, and I definitely see why American Girl always uses the Josefina sculpt because it is so beautiful. It is probably my favorite one that they make right now, so I can't complain too much that they are probably overusing it, but it's been a few years since they've used it for the Girl of the Year, so I honestly am really happy that they used it for her. I think she looks great. I really love her eye color because she has like the painted pinwheel eyes and not decal eyes, and y'all know that my favorites are the pinwheel eyes. I think the decal eyes look too flat. So yeah, I really love the color of them. They're sort of like a hazel color. They're like a little bit of like a green/brown. This I actually think is one of the most beautiful eye colors they make. This is really, really pretty. So yeah, let's get these hand things off. All right, and we'll go ahead and get her hairnet off so we can check out her long flowing hair. I like doing it at the back of the neck now because I've seen some other people do it, and I feel like you're less likely to give her a shine mark on her forehead that way, so that's what I'm doing. I don't plan on taking her hair out of this style, so hopefully it looks good as the hairnet comes off. All right, pay attention, people. It's coming off, I think. All right, here we go. All right, does she look good? Oh yeah, she looks good. I love this hairstyle. Now, I think that Lila is very Y2K looking. I mean, this looks like something Britney Spears would have worn in the early 2000s. So I think this is very nostalgic in a way. And this is just what we see all over the place right now. It's not just kids' toys. I feel like in fashion, we're seeing so much like Y2K revival right now, which I'm living for. I love that. She actually looks like she would be right at home in Isabel and Nikki's collection. So even if I didn't collect Girl of the Year, I could probably justify buying her for their collection. But I really, really love her outfit. I know that's not everybody's favorite, but I have to say, I love it, especially these shoes. Again, when we're talking Isabel and Nikki, I feel like Isabel could wear these no problem. I think they would look so good with her meat outfit. They're very cute, and they do have a false buckle on them, which is, I guess, especially great for children. It's a little less realistic, but you can actually take her shoe off by just undoing the Velcro and pulling it off that way. So a lot easier to take off and put on. So really happy with that. I honestly, the shoes alone, was like reason enough to get this doll. I think that they are so so cool looking, and I love the color. I like that they did a different mix of pinks on her meat outfit, because, you know, I feel like her overall collection color scheme is orange and pink, but she is very pink. I don't see a ton of orange other than this little like racing stripe down the side of her, do we call these sweatpants? These are so Juicy Couture, right? But they definitely have like a nice like plush feeling to them, almost like a terry cloth kind of feeling. I feel like this is what the Juicy Couture like track, what were they called? What do you call those Juicy Couture things? Is it a tracksuit? God, it's been so long now. But yeah, they have a very plush, soft feel. These are very, very nice. And of course, I love her hairstyle. I think it's very now, but I also think it could be very Y2K. So I have no plans of taking her hair down or anything. I'm going to leave her like this, as I am with all of my girls of the year. I'm not going to take them out of their like meat hairstyles and change them up. I think it's just going to be really fun to have a display of them like all in a row with their original hairstyles, original outfits, and their meat accessories. So yeah, I'm going to kind of take care of her and just kind of keep her as pristine as possible. But I really, really love this doll. I do think that they did a really good job with her. Again, despite the criticisms that, you know, we've seen dolls similar to this before, I get it, but you got to remember, like I said before, these are mainly targeted towards children. I would say like 99% of the people receiving this doll are probably under the age of 13. So it's important to remember that like, you know, they weren't really paying too much attention to what was going on 10 years ago at American Girl. So they cycle these things in and out regularly just so that they can capitalize on what's popular with kids. And things do change over the years, but certain fundamental things I think remain true. And I feel like if you're into dolls, it's very common for doll people to like pink. Certainly not always. I know plenty of doll collectors that hate pink, but I always have loved pink. It's still one of my favorite colors. So it makes me really happy to have this doll because I just, you know, she's very quintessential American Girl looking to me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon because this channel is completely viewer supported. So without the support on Patreon, this channel would not exist. There are hours of extra American Girl content there that you can enjoy, and it's super duper cheap. And like I said, it's the best thing you can do to help support this channel so I can keep making videos. You can also support this channel by shopping at my shop at idreamofjohnny.com, where you can get lots of merch and the occasional vintage American Girl item. You can find me on other places on the internet like TikTok and Instagram at idreamofjohnny. But if you want to keep hanging out on YouTube, you can catch me in this video right here. I hope to see you there. Bye.